everybody, and welcome back to the Virzi Effect Podcast Show. My name is Paul Virzi, and you guys listening to episode 571, but I don't know where that fits into since we've been in the studio. You know what? How about this? One of you listeners, let me know how long I've been in here. I don't know, but it's been going great. And before I get started today, I just want to thank all of the new listeners, obviously the old listeners. Since we've been in here in studio in New York City, the show has grown. I thank you guys. Get the Virzi Effect Podcast everywhere you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. And I want to thank everybody who came out, dude. Providence came out for me big, Mikey. Providence, Rhode Island, selling out shows at the Comedy Connection. So thank you guys.
I had a lot of fun with you on that show. Oh, I didn't do it with you. Okay.
Oh, don't worry. I got dates for you, Mikey. And then I got on April 14th and 15th, I'm going to be one of my favorite clubs, Salt Lake City, guys. I'm coming back, Wise Guys. And then on the 16th, one night at the Denver Comedy Works. We'll talk about that on the end of the show. Let's just get into this episode. We have a lot more stuff to talk about. I'll get into more dates after. I want to talk about our guest here today. Hilarious comic, came in from Los Angeles, has a new special out on YouTube called Daddy. And the last time I saw him, we were at a friend's wedding, running from Mike Myers, running from Jason Voorhees, freezing. I actually got really, really sick. We will talk about that in a second. Jeremiah Watkins is here. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? Great to see you, man.
Do you remember that?
Of course I do. I want to talk to you about that because I felt awful about we did this scavenger hunt at this wedding, and it was incredible because it was at, like, we stayed in barracks of an actual, like, campground.
Yes. Yes.
Which added to the whole allure of the wedding because I hadn't been in camp since I was a
And you
teenager.
were on my team.
Yes.
So we have a friend who had a wedding upstate New York, and like Jeremiah said, it was like a campground. You had your own, it was almost like when in a horror movie when you have your own little, like, place where people sleep. Like, you know, remember Mike Myers would, like, knock on?
Yeah. It was a Friday the 13th, like, set.
It
like,
was a Friday the 13th set where, like, each group of campers had their own
bunks and barracks.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we're at this nice wedding of somebody very successful.
Yes.
And they go, hey guys, we don't know if you're interested. They got a bonfire inside, a bar inside. It's cold outside. Now, mind you, my wife Stacy, who actually got a kick out of you, she really did. She was like, that guy's hilarious. That guy's fun. My wife Stacy is so against horror movies, petrified of shit like that.
Yeah.
But she kind of was just cool that night, went for the ride. But here's what they said. They go, guys, we're going to break up. And it's all comics, right? A lot of comics.
Which added to how silly and fun it was because, like, comics were just, like, going crazy, like, running around. And you're seeing comics try to be athletic that aren't athletic at all.
It's so funny. Yeah. Like Steve Byrne took it seriously. I jumped in a pool. I got sick. But here's what happened. They break us down into teams, and they say, here's a list of tasks each team needs to accomplish. By the way, on the grounds, we have hired multiple Mike Myers and Jason Voorhees. They are instructed to not talk to you. They are instructed to kind of go at you like a killer, and they are going to try to come and either touch you or do something. And if that happens, if they get you, you're out.
Yeah, if you get touched, you're dead in this scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, dude.
And you got to respawn like a video game. You have to go back to the base.
Yes.
You almost go on timeout, hit the base, and then you can go back out and start the scavenger hunt with your team again.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to try to remember the team. You tell me. I think it was myself, my wife, you. Was it Mike Fenoya?
Yes,
Mike Fenoya.
I think so.
Somebody else. And, like, one of the tasks was you had to bury one person in the group had to be completely buried in leaves. And you got a certain amount of points. One was you had to take a picture of somebody giving Jason Voorhees the finger.
Yeah.
I remember seeing, I almost said his name. I remember seeing somebody, like, really take it seriously. But then there was, like, this extra point one that very few did, myself and Steve Byrne. But there was one swimming pool on the grounds, an outdoor in-ground swimming pool. And if you jumped in it, you had to strip down into your boxers or your underwear. If you jumped in it, you had to jump in it, get out of it without and the killers knew that was a thing.
Yeah, so they were, like, kind of looming and hovering around this pool while we're like, come on, get in there.
So I'm like, I'll do it. It's freezing outside. I strip down, dude. I had a cashmere sweater on. I take it off. I hand it to my wife. I jump in this pool. I jump out. I'm freezing. Voorhees, I think one of them just, like, looked over and started, but we took off. Dude, I had the flu. Listen.
But before we get into the flu, do you? This is why I felt so bad about the situation. I used yours or your wife's phone, and it was so cold outside. When I hit the button on the phone to record the video, it wasn't recording, and I was like, so Paul is going through the water. He's freezing, and he's freaking out, and then he comes out of the pool, and he's like, "Did you get it?" And I go,
I remember that.
I'm so sorry. I didn't get it. It
Dude,
didn't record.
You have a great memory. That's so. I was like, okay, dude, you got to tell me you got that. And you go, dude, I didn't. And then
the look of letdown on your face when I looked at you, bro. You were so like, you're like, it was like this nice like New York like, we're gonna get through this. All right, yeah. I'll do it again real quick.
Dude, I can't believe you remember that. You just brought me back. But it did have this cool thing of being a little kid again. I think it even brought my wife back because like, it was just like kids outside running around.
Dude.
You know, then there was like a lake. There was a legit lake.
Well, that was one of the other bonus points was if you went out on the canoe just a little bit out on the open water, then that was an extra point. And then they had a killer walking through the water.
Dude.
It was crazy.
It was actually at one point there was I don't know if it was Mike Myers or Jason Voorhees, but at one point I got legit scared. Was there any? There was Mike Myers, was there or no? Or was it just Jason?
No, it was both.
It was both, right?
Yeah.
And like, dude, some of them like looked like one of the dudes like looked.
Some of them were huge. Like to the point where like when it's kind of like a haunted house. Like if you buy into the concept,
yes,
you're gonna get scared because like, but if you're just like, oh, this is dumb, whatever. But we were all like living in the moment, and it was so fun to kind of lean into it. Like, oh, we're gonna die if one of these guys touches us.
That's what it is. And somebody like my wife who would never do that, she just bought in. And the thing is, if you bought in, it was the coolest thing.
So fun.
It was so easy to be like, this is dumb. We're adults. I'm going to drink. But no, dude, it was like, it was a cool event the night before the wedding.
And the winner got like a new PlayStation or something. It was something crazy. Like that was the prize of whoever won the whole thing.
Yeah, and I love how like one team won all the gifts, and we thought we were good. We were like third out of fourth.
Oh, we were like we killed it on all these points, and then we're like almost dead last in the competition.
Yeah, we were we were second to dead last. Dude, I got sick. When I tell you I got sick, because I didn't realize I was shivering. Once I put my stuff back on, I thought I was good. Dude, when I tell you I was sick, my throat, I was like in really bad shape. And then I found out Steve Byrne had jumped in. So he was I think he might have been on the winning team, but he jumped in and he did it. And I don't know I think he might have people were getting sick.
You know what I think it was I think everybody had so much adrenaline pumping through them that you normally, like if you're in a good state of mind, you'd be like, I need to go inside and really warm up right now before I reset. But we were also excited. I think we kept at it.
Oh, we kept
and then
at
just
it.
kept running around in the cold. So you probably just
I mean, we were jumping in leaves. I was freezing. I was soaking wet. It was I mean, the wedding was great, and then 2 days later, I was like I had pneumonia. But I want to talk about your. I want to talk because I saw you at the stand, and you told me that first of all, congratulations, you're a new dad.
Yeah.
Now, the first time I saw you or knew about you was we have a mutual friend in Josh Adam Myers.
Of course, yeah, one of my brothers.
Shout out to Jam.
Yeah,
and Josh
J-Mo.
Adam Myers does the comedy Jam, but basically all those. You know, guys, if you know the Comedy Jam, you know he had it on. Was doing it at festivals. It was on Comedy Central. But basically, what it is comedians go out. They tell a story of a song and they make it funny, and then they actually, with a full-fledged band, and I'm not talking like, this isn't just like you go up there and like I'm talking like you go up there and it's a full-fledged band and you're in the song, like you're singing the song.
Oh yeah.
And that's when I saw, because you were like in that group.
Yeah.
And you were also in roast battles. You were the dude. Was
part of the wave?
Was Jamar
with Jamar Neighbors and Willie Hunter? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys ever saw the roast battles and some crazy like diss would hit or like a dig would hit hard, these three, they called them the wave. They would get up and do all kinds of wild shit. And I was like, and then you start. Then I didn't realize you're doing stand up. You're out there in L.A. You know, grinding it out. Now you got a special out there, but you got a baby, man.
Yeah, and baby number 2 coming in June. June.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you just died. I mean, you just said fuck it.
Oh, yeah, full on in. Let's
Get
go.
a dog.
Yeah, no. That's my wife and I. We're cool with 2 babies, but we're not going the dog route. We're like, these are our pets.
It's funny when you see a comic, you're like, wow, that guy's really going to commit. And you just jumped in the deep end, dude. You were like, no, we're going 2 kids.
I jumped like you in the pool. Just right in. Let's do it twice, baby.
So wait, what's your first one? What, do you have a boy?
Yeah, first one's a boy and second one's another boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
That's how old's your son?
He's turning 2 this weekend.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
dude. Wow,
yeah.
that went fast, right?
Dude, it is. It's so cliche. I've heard it from so many dads. I'm like, yeah, all right. And then when you're in it, you're just like, I cannot believe.
It really does when you say shit like that, like, hey, man, it goes fast. You roll your eyes and you're like, yeah, I know it goes fast. But then I'm at my 13-year-old son's basketball game and he's shooting threes and I'm just like, I was holding him.
Yeah.
It's really, really nuts,
It's
man.
insane.
It's nuts, but that's awesome, dude. And did it give you, I remember back in the day, this is a cool story. I remember I was standing outside Stand Up New York and a bunch of us were there and JB Smooth was out there. And JB Smooth had been doing it a long time. And this kid was killing. Like, I heard stories of JB Smooth. I'm not even joking. You know, Mike, you know JB Smooth, right? Oh, yeah. But, like, there were stories before he was anything with Kerr, before anybody knew him and he was just on the circuit in New York. There were stories of that kid killing so hard in the Bronx that ambulance came, like a woman couldn't catch her breath. Dude, JB Smooth had I heard people running out of rooms. They just couldn't. He was ridiculous. I was at his SNL audition and I saw Lorne Michaels like face just like crying, laughing. So he didn't become a cast member. He became a writer, right? But I remember he said something. He goes, he was sitting outside on the stoop and they were talking and he just goes, he was doing it like, he was doing it like 18 years at the time. And he said, when my daughter was born, he goes, something clicked. My wife says to me, and I've said this on the show, my wife says to me when my son Lucas was born, she noticed something change. I think at the time my son was born, I was doing it around getting like close to, so I think I was getting better.
Yeah.
But something does happen. So I guess what my question is, in a roundabout way, did you feel like, because I admire you for something, and I admire any comic that goes, yeah, well, I'm going to have a kid, and yeah, I'm going to continue my career, and fuck yeah, like all of that shit about like, oh, that's hard, or that commitment could hurt you. I think the opposite, and I think you're like, oh no, now I'm doing this for not just myself, I'm doing this for other people,
yeah. And
there's like a laser thing. I think it's a fucking selfish, narcissistic thing to be like, I don't want that. It's like, no, you can have it if you just put the work in. Did you get that sense?
I felt like something, I definitely felt a shift inside of me. The thing for me, because I think I've always been known like in the scenes as like a hard worker, right?
Yes.
Like somebody who like is all in, doing as much as I can. I throw myself 1,000% into and commit to whatever show or whatever set I'm doing. So I think something inside me when I, found out that my wife and I were pregnant with our first child is that I was like, I got to work smarter now. I got to figure, I'm putting in enough of the hard work, but now I got to be smarter with my time and everything. And it leveled me up, I think, in a way of like, I got to cut anything that's like not being effective. Even if I like it, there's ways for me to utilize what is working and make that, parlay that into something that's working a little bit better.
Dude, that is, you just hit the nail on the head. And what was that for me was the pandemic. Because I was so focused. I was so focused on, I got to get spots because I got to get better.
Yeah.
And I knew I was getting better because I started to get recognition after so many years of not. Nobody gave a fuck about me. Nobody. And I was told by like good comedians, like, hey, dude, it's going to take some time. You're going to take longer. A guy like you, it's going to take longer. You're not the flavor of the month. You're not what industry's looking for.
Yeah.
So you're a guy that's going to have to put your head down and get funnier. And I did, but I remember I would leave my family at like dinner time on a Tuesday to go do a $25 spot. And the pandemic, when nobody was working, I realized, no. Let me work smarter because the hard work has been for 2 decades.
Right.
So now I'm like, all right, I'm going to pile up sets in the city to get my reps in for the week, but I'm going to do it smarter and more calculated. And then I'm going to book in accordance with my road stuff. And it's been... Now, granted, I had the luxury of doing that because I was a little more in the game. So I understand that when you're coming up, I don't want any comics listening to this go, oh, I can. Listen, when you're coming up, you got to do anything and everything.
Every single spot
and you got to go get that $25 spot on a Tuesday. I was in a different position, but you got to, with a family and the balance, you have to go, you're right. You have to like balance it where you're still working hard, but it's more of like, you know what it's like? It's like instead of being like, just killing everybody, it's just like sniper.
Yeah,
But you're getting like the colonel.
Right.
You're getting the top guy, right? You got to just be a little smarter instead of all of that. Probably not a great analogy with school shootings going on.
John Wick. There you go. You got to be more like a John Wick, more
you know when you go in,
calculated.
people go in and go, "Drrr." No, I don't mean it like that. I meant, cut the head of the snake. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, you can't. That's how fucked up times are. You can't
Yeah.
even do like any analogy. You're like, wait a minute. Is that a.
Oh, wait, is that a problem with the world that's happening right at this moment? Okay, I better pull back on that analogy. Okay, cool.
It's like running into a room spraying bullets. No, never mind.
Oh, wait,
it's not. It's actually not. No, but that's actually the really good way to look at it is like you can work hard while still doing it smart. And
Yes.
And I think one thing comedians with children have that comedians with children don't have. Sorry, Mikey. I just saw Mike's eyes go down.
He's like, I guess I'm not getting another spot this weekend.
His eyes went down. He's like, fuck you. No, the one thing I think comedians with kids have that what comedians don't have is we're I think a little better and more efficient with time, but we have no choice. Like
There's literally, your back is up against the wall. There's so much less time in the day where you can kind of dick around with your time, where all of a sudden, like, I know that my son and my wife are going to be home around 4 p.m.
Yeah.
That's a second reset.
Yeah.
For the day or the night to be like, oh, I got to be on dad mode for this window of time before I go out and do spots and other stuff. So
yeah, your wife calls you up. Jeremiah, can you get off the patio at the store for 10 minutes and come home? Your son's walking.
Yeah.
He just took his first step. You're on the patio with a drink. You're like, you know what, guys? I got to.
You know what? I should probably head out. At this point.
That's it's so funny though, man, because your son is going to start to know what you do. What's cool is like he's not going to know, like when he's 4 or 5, he's going to know daddy goes and tells jokes.
Yeah.
But when he's like 7 and 8, he's going to be like, oh, daddy tells jokes professionally.
Right.
And then he's going to start talking shit that like my dad is so much funnier than anybody that you know.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome. And then you're going to have dads come up to you and be like, dude, get ready for that.
But isn't that that sounds like a nightmare? The dad's trying to like out funny you or be like, "Hey, Virzi, you want to tell me a joke?" Like that.
No, what you'll get is like, here's what I get sometimes now, like especially after the Netflix special, they'll go like, "So I saw your show," and then you'll get some people like you get 2 types of people. You get like the jealous, envious, passive aggressive. Like saw your show, man. Yeah, it was pretty funny with like that shit.
Yeah.
And then you get people that are genuinely cool.
Yeah.
Like, dude, man, that was so awesome. I'm telling everybody about you, and I'm telling them to watch you.
That's cool.
And you'll see that. But my kids' teachers know. So like the gym teacher's like, dude, your dad is so funny. I'm a huge fan. But then I know that but our doctor, their pediatrician, he said some passive aggressive shit where we went in, and he just goes. So he was like talking to my son, and he gives like great advice and stuff about life. You don't do drugs. And then I think he saw my special, and he goes, and you don't curse. He was like religious.
Yeah.
So he's like, you don't curse and stuff. Like you got to be. And I knew he was talking to me. And I wanted to be like, listen, dude, just fucking check his knee joint. Let me get out of here.
Quit using my son as a conduit to me, and step out in the hallway, have a conversation with me if you have something to say.
That's the one thing. Yeah, it's like, yeah, dude, I know. I tell some jokes that are, and you're religious, and that's great. Let's not cross these. Does my son have the flu?
Yeah. Did I give my son the flu from the pool that I jumped in?
Yeah.
My aunt, she watched my special, Daddy, on YouTube recently, and she admitted, she goes, I just want to say I didn't agree with some of the crass sex humor that you did,
Yeah.
but it was really cool to see your perspective on raising a kid. And she's an interesting person because she says that she looks at me as kind of an enigma, because I'll talk about dirty stuff, but I purposely, I don't really swear in my act. And I also talk about in the special how I've never drank or done drugs before. So she's like, I don't really get like what you are, because she's super religious. So she finds some of the stuff that I say deplorable, but she sees that there's still like somewhat of a
Wow,
like
that's really interesting. Man.
Yeah.
So you've never drank or done drugs?
No.
So you've been sober your whole life? Like,
Sober. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
But the reason why, well, that's a huge reason why you're successful, because I mean, when I go clean for like 60 days just for a cleanse, because I don't have a problem or anything, but there are times where I'm like, hey man, I'm on some workout shit, and even now I haven't had a drink in 25 days. I'm going to the gym. I feel better, but you are a guy, and I think the reason why you're going to be successful, and you guys got to watch out for this guy, man, because this guy you have something that I admire. You keep coming. And I remember, like, when I was out there, you could see people that say, this is what happens. This is really interesting. I never talked about this on the show before, but you have this, and I know that this is why you're going to be successful. What you said earlier, where you go all in and commit to anything that you do. Mm-hmm. And I saw that when Jason Voorhees was chasing us. Okay, that's number one. And even my wife was like, this kid's hilarious. This kid is like taking this shit. Like he took it to a fucking, like, dude, like, I'm not even joking around. Like, if I was in a foxhole, like, I want Jeremiah with me. Like, this kid was like planning, conspiring. He's like, all right, dude, you guys wait here. I'm going to distract them. Dude, it was like, I'm not even joking around. I was like, if I'm in a horror movie, I want this kid with me. But that's how you take your career. I'm sure that's how you're going to take being a dad. And what I notice in this business is, this is what happens in the business, and somebody like you is going to run through it. And I know that I've run through. I'm going to keep running through it. And this is a real shit. And I know a lot of comedians listen to this show. There's going to be a time where you get heat, okay? And let's just say, for example, it'll be your album or Daddy, right? So let's say Daddy, because you're doing a podcast tour now with Daddy, and it's out there, and people are starting to see you more and more, okay? You're going to get some heat. Oh, that's Jeremiah Watkins. He's got a special out on YouTube. Great. That's awesome. He's doing a thing. Yeah, he's pretty funny. And then what's going to happen is 6 to 7 months, the heat goes down. And then it's like, what's he up to? And all of a sudden, people are going, it's out of sight, out of mind. And even industry. Oh man, maybe he's not. And then all of a sudden, something's gonna come. And with me, it's like, that's happened to me, where industry's been like, he has this. Oh, but he's done. Oh no, but he's got this. And then now it's to the point where I even have people from agents and everybody just go, no, dude, you're just like, you've arrived, like you're here.
Yeah.
And you just keep coming. And that's the difference. It's work ethic. It all sounds corny. And I know people listening to this rolling their eyes, but every success story is that. It's like, and your perseverance, I guess, and the way that you commit to those things, that's why you're going to be successful, man. And the fact that you don't use substances, and that you're a dad now, it's just laser focus, and it's what winners do.
That's the goal. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it really is. Like, and everything else other than that is excuses, I think.
I agree with you. Yep. I mean, the excuses of,
Oh, dude.
I think it's real easy as a comic to come up with a list of hundreds of excuses why things aren't happening for you, or why things aren't going the way that you wanted them to. But sometimes you just have to put your head down and just do the work and focus.
I remember being at the stand. I can't mention the guy's name. I wouldn't mention the guy's name. I don't even know if the guy still does it anymore. He might. But New Yorkers, I'm sure some comedians know him. But I was at the stand one time with this dude, and this dude was just on that negative shit, man. And it was starting to really wear me down. And we're sitting at the table, and he's like, yeah, but I mean, these people have opportunities. And I'm just like, okay. And then he was like, yeah, these people, like, they open for somebody, or they do this. I'm going, okay. Yeah, and then the dude, and if nothing happens, like, you gotta. And then I just started going like, yeah, but you can. So then I got on my positive shit.
Yeah.
Because that's who I am.
Yeah,
and
you
like,
got to deflect.
Yeah, and then he was like, yeah, but you know, I remember I was young. This is probably like 13 years ago. This is like 12 years ago. And he was like, yeah, well, you know, I know this comic who a big comic took on the road. He goes, how about you? Bill Burr likes you. He put you on the road. Those are opportunities other people won't get. And I go, no, hold on. First of all, Bill Burr saw me murder and approached me. Never forget that. Like, it's like when Chris Rock, when somebody told Eddie Murphy to watch Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy went to the strip and they go, dude, just watch this kid, Chris Rock. And he went in the back and he saw him. And after he saw him, he fucking flew him out to LA, gave him part in a movie. He was the male guy in Boomerang and started doing shit for him. And it's like, so you have to have those opportunities, and positive people go, oh, I'm going to go and make the best of this opportunity. If luck comes from it, great.
Yep.
If somebody but you got to make that, this whole idea of negative people. And another thing I don't like too, and I know people always go, Virzi, sometimes you never finish your thought. I'll finish that thought. The whole idea of that happened because of this and that's not happening because of me. I think it's not happening because of you. And don't ever, like, you got to look at it like, what am I doing to do that?
Who wants to bring that guy on the road anyway who has that kind of attitude?
That's perfect.
When you go on the road, you have to be cool to be around. That's part of the thing. It's not just killing. There's a lot of comics can kill.
Yep.
You have to also be an enjoyable person who's not a negative piece of crap on the road too, where like when they see you in the morning or they're seeing you at odd hours at the airport and stuff like that, that this person isn't like, ugh, this flight's probably going to suck. You don't want that person next to you. You want somebody who's like excited to be there and like down for the gig.
Yeah, a little turbulence never hurt anybody.
Yeah. No, I think we're all right. No.
Guy's shitting his pants.
Yeah.
No, but I take people on the road that, like, not only do I believe in and I think are funny and are gonna get better, but like, let's go smoke a cigar and talk shop and talk sports and talk life. And I know if we go out for a burger, it's not gonna be like, oh, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, those people, that negative shit is his excuses. And going back to what I was gonna say is, I also find that there's a little bit of that shit, the negativity, when people go like, yeah, you know. There's another comic that said this to me. He goes, yeah, you know, you're real, you know, you're funny. He goes, this was years ago. He goes, you curse. So, you know, you're a little raw, something like that. He goes, but you'll do well. And it was really passive aggressive. And then I passed that dude. And then he was like, oh, I'd love to get you on the podcast. And when I went on the podcast, super, super nice guy. And it's like, you're like a kind of a known guy. Like, why are you like that? Even when family members, yeah, but you curse. It's almost like, oh, you didn't do shit.
Yeah.
You didn't finish and do what you wanted to do. So now you see somebody working and doing something. So let's go to the one thing I can say. Oh, I'm religious and you curse.
Right.
My wife gets really frustrated now with people. You know, my wife is like, when she hears a family member said I curse too much or something, she gets upset. And this is the first time I said that on the podcast, but like, she's just like, you're just saying words, you're having a good time. I'm not doing anything like growth. So like your aunt saying that to you, and I don't know her, I'm sure you guys have a great relationship. She probably is just so religious, but it was nice that she said to you like, oh, at least your perspective.
It was big of her because she's walked out of some of my shows before.
Oh wow!
So this was a big deal for her to message me and go out of her way to be like, I watched most of it that I could. Had to fast forward a little bit of stuff, but what I saw is she's basically saying like, what I'm seeing now than from what I've seen 10 years ago or whatever, 10, 13 years ago, it's growth and there's more perspective and there's more substance to the dirt, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And are you close with this?
Yeah. I'm close with her.
Okay, yeah. So you can't even be like, leave me alone. Like this is like, you want this relationship to work.
she's very sweet.
Yeah. So it's almost like you take what she says a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, to go along with what you're saying, when people say kind of jabbing things like that, I think it's intimidating for people, like you're saying, to see someone complete their dreams and fulfill their dreams because they have to look inward, and then that's the whole thing. It's like, oh, yeah, I didn't follow my dream.
Yeah. And I was talking to my younger brother about this. He was a musician. He's out in Idaho. Shout out to my brother Steven. Love my brother. Really talented kid. But we were talking about, I said something once to a comedian and the comedian didn't like it. And they're a friend of mine, but I said something that could have come across arrogant, but I was like, man, like, I'm on all cylinders and the crowd work's going good and the improv's going good and the bits are hitting. I was like, I think I can fuck with people like in this business, you know? And people didn't like it. And the reason why they didn't like it is because knowing that some people don't have that confidence. And listen, I'm as insecure like all of us. And I worry about, is that funny enough? Or is that a joke that should be respected? We all have that. Yeah. So nobody's going to walk in a room and be like, yo, I'm the shit, dude. Like, no, and anybody that does that isn't. But I also know when I see growth and progress in myself, but when somebody has to look inward and they realize they almost have to knock that down because they're not capable of that yet. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, man, that's you.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, there's therapy out there, and I needed it. You know, but we have a really hard time going like, not to turn this into some sad shit, but we have a really hard time being like, no, I'm good enough, or I'm okay. Like
worthy
and feeling worthy. When I went through my mental breakdown in 2016 and I thought something was physically wrong with me, this psychiatrist goes like, you almost feel like you deserve something to be wrong. And when he said that, I didn't know where that came from, because like, why would I feel that? Why would I want? And he was like, no, it's an inner thing from when you're younger. So like the worth thing is, a lot of people don't understand. You watch a comedian on stage killing, and you watch a comedian doing it, that comes from something, man. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all have different demons.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
Don't let Jeremiah's perfect slicked hair and fucking crispy daddy t-shirt, you know, no drugs, no drinking. Don't let you, it's not all perfect.
No,
There's a dark, this kid has
no.
cried in a fetal position.
I've got some issues. There's a darkness in here.
Do you have any like mental health issues, or like, are you on any meds or anything, or no? Let's go.
I mean, yeah. I've got some issues.
That's the best thing about doing a podcast with a comedian. So are you mentally ill?
Yeah. I've got some issues.
Yo, with comedy, it's almost like, so what is it? Schizophrenia?
Yeah. So
like,
let's get down to it.
We know it's OCD because we all have that.
Oh, yeah.
Like OCD is almost looked at. OCD and anxiety is like, that's like AAA ball. Like you're just like,
yeah. What else? What else you got? Let's get to the good stuff.
Are there homicidal thoughts?
Yeah.
No, like I really do. Like every comedian I talk to, I think everybody, you know what's funny? You talk to most people in life, forget comedians. Does everybody have anxiety? They must.
The more that I learn about anxiety, the more I'm like, does everybody have this?
You know what's funny? There are some people, and it's the Irish Catholic, German. There is a thing where I don't know if they like.
You just hit 2 out of the 3 for me. I'm Irish German.
They're psychopaths in the way, in the way that if there is anxiety, they ignore it. Dude, I know people that it's so down that they're just like, no, like I'm good, and it's like. It's so masked that there almost isn't anxiety because they like refuse it, which is almost brilliant.
I refused it for many years, and I've only had a couple panic attacks in my life where like I didn't know what was happening.
Right.
I had no idea, but I had one panic attack that I bombed so hard at the Comedy Store. I went out to my car and I started crying, and I'm like, what? I literally was shaking. I was like, what is happening to me? Trying, like me not even wanting to cry, but it was like the tears are like, you have repressed so much over the years that we're forcing this out of your body because it has to relinquish this right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking great, dude. That's so great. Your body, you didn't even know your body was like, no, I'll do this for you.
Yeah. It was pushing it out. I was like trying to push it down. I was like, listen, this is years in the making. This is coming out tonight. Off of like just a set that went like not that great. But like I walked upstairs, like somebody was like, hey, how'd it go? And they're like, ugh. I couldn't even talk to people. I went straight to my car and I started crying in the parking lot of the store. I didn't know what was happening.
But you know what's funny is that's not really even probably about the set.
It wasn't.
It has nothing to do with the set.
It was so much stuff that was going on around me in life and stuff.
The set was just the switch.
It was the catalyst.
But it was the but there was so much, and then that just pushed you over the edge, made you question things.
Yeah.
And all that shit. Wow, man, that's really nuts that you haven't had a drink or drugs too. Like that, because like usually when people deal with shit like that, they're like, you know what? I'll go to a bar, throw a couple cold ones back, a shot, and then just go.
It's an outlet.
It's an outlet, you know. And a lot of people do that shit because anxiety, which a lot of people in our business have. But everybody I talk to is like, yeah, you know, I deal with anxiety, and I'm just like, all right, like, yeah. Now it's like, what else? Like, what is? How is your father? How is your mother? That's why they ask those questions. That's so funny. I didn't mean to ask you if you had a mental illness, by the way.
That's great. I love it. My wife, she's seen me have some of her favorite sets that she sees me have. I do these sets where I have like these fake mental breakdowns on stage. They're fake, but they're also a little real.
That's
like where
funny.
I will go in on the crowd if I'm not liking, you know.
Yeah.
And it's such a good outlet. Like if it's just like a weird night or like a weird energy or whatever, I'm like, okay, gloves are coming off tonight. Let's get into this.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes those are the freest sets.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you kind of just throw your hands up and go, look, this isn't going to go the way any of us want it to, so now it's going to go my way.
Right.
That's because
That's fun.
now you're taking control of like, no, this is not going to be you guys feel that way. I see what you're doing. Now you're going to listen and like this or not, I'm doing this.
Right.
There's a freedom to that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think, too, what we're talking about, Jessica Kirsten, a friend of mine, she'll be on the show hopefully
funny,
soon.
man.
Yeah, so funny, so great at riffing. That thing where she turns around and talks to herself.
What an amazing device.
That, I think what you were saying, it's like, it's fake, but it's kind of not.
Yeah.
That's the perfect example because when she turns around, wow, really? Man, this is a fucking good one, dude. It's a real good podcast. Thank you for being here. I just got the time. We're 5 minutes out. We have 5 minutes left, dude.
Okay, yeah.
I could have done this for fucking 2
Yeah,
hours.
yeah.
This is great. We'll do it again.
We'll do it again for
We'll
sure.
definitely do it again.
Yeah, yeah.
But Jessica going like, okay, they don't like you, but it's okay. You're going to, but that's all comes from real.
Oh, yeah.
And it's brilliant.
It's so good. It's literally the two comics that I've seen, Jim Gaffigan,
Yep.
the way he uses that voice, and Jessica, they're two completely different avenues of doing it, but it's so brilliant because they can comment in the moment of how they're really feeling and how some of the audience might be feeling in that moment. It's so cool to watch.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a few minutes left here, so let's talk about you and your special. Where did you shoot this?
Madison, Wisconsin, Comedy on State.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
One of the best clubs in the country.
Great room.
Yeah.
Great room. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
did you feel like when you were done, you got everything you wanted? You did you got it all out the way you wanted?
Yeah, the special, so it's like a 57-minute special, and 52 of the minutes is from one show. When I walked off on the early show, I was like, I'm like, one bit I want to get on the late show, but like, we got it.
Yeah, that's the best feeling when you know it's in the bank because then it's all gravy.
Yeah.
Then you're like, all right, let's go and have fun on
Right.
the next one and get it out. That's awesome, man. And they can see it where?
YouTube.com/Jeremiah Watkins, or you can just type in Daddy Jeremiah Watkins on YouTube.
Was your wife at the taping?
No.
Okay, no, yeah.
Yeah.
You were just like on the road.
I was on the road doing it, but she there's some material about her, obviously, in it that's
That she doesn't like?
No, that she actually, I was on the fence about putting one of the bits in that hit really hard, but I'm like, this is kind of intimate and personal about you and I. And she goes, no, put that in because I think other women will really like that bit. She's objective, and she's like, this is a great bit that should stay.
See, that's how you know you married the right woman.
Yeah.
Because, and it's really smart that you did that. Somebody told me one time, when you talk about your family on stage, they didn't choose this life you did. They didn't choose the job you did, so you should talk to them because it's not fair.
Yeah.
You go up there and be like, yeah, so my dad, I called my dad because I talk about my dad a lot. My dad's a definitely unique character, very unique character, old school Sicilian dude from the Bronx, grew up in the 1960s in the Bronx, you know, just a far right-wing conservative dude, but like listens to everybody, not like lunatic. He just hates when anybody's anti-American. So when he talks to me, it's really funny. And he's a funny guy. And I go, Dad, I kind of talk about you in this new hour. And he just, my dad's like, he goes, yeah, no, the more the better. Go. If they like it, yeah. Like, so, but it's good that you ask.
I run by premises by my wife before I get too invested in the bit, so I don't feel like I'm fighting for a bit after the fact. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about talking about this thing that happened between us, or that you said or I said and you reacted this way. Are you comfortable with that?
Yep.
And then like, she's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I'm like, boom, off to the races, start working it out.
In 20 years of doing this, whatever, 21, whatever, my wife, she said one time, she was like, and she still didn't say no. She just goes, that one is a little.
Same with me.
And I'll be like, okay.
One bit.
You know, and I'm like, if that one bit is going to, I don't want you to feel a certain way or ever feel that I'm going to put you in a situation like that.
Exactly.
I'm not going to alienate my wife.
Yeah.
And have people go. And there are some comics, even big ones, talking about their daughters and I'm just going like, dude, there's a certain line because your daughter's going to watch that.
Oh yeah. Whether it's, 5 or 10 years from now, like it's still like, ooh, you got to be, I don't know.
What if
careful.
your daughter is like 21 and you did the joke when she was 14 and she's just at college and she calls you up and goes, Dad, like, My friends and I were watching, like, that really hurt me, dude. You know how fucking horrible that would be to
That's
just be
rough.
like, and you can't take it off. You can't. It's over.
No, it's out there.
It's out
It's
there.
on a platform where anybody can see it.
I want everybody to check out Jeremiah Watkins' special Daddy on YouTube. I'm serious when I say this kid's not going anywhere. He keeps coming. He's going to be he is successful, but he's going to continue to be. And he commits to everything he does. He's so funny, smart dude. Congratulations on being a dad. Congratulations on baby number 2 coming. I wish you all the best with that. And you got dates to plug? Where are you going to be? Or
I'm coming
Website, all
up. Tour dates at jeremiahwatkins.com. I've got Kansas City coming up, Vegas, Austin, Texas. Cramming those in before the baby comes in June. So, yeah.
nice. And guys, again, I want to thank everybody who came out to the shows. You could check me out May 17th. I don't know when this podcast exactly come out, but May 17th, I'll be at Raleigh Goodnights. Then the next night on the 18th, I'm going to be at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte. I also have April 28th and 29th. I'll be at the Vulcan Gas Company in Austin. But we have Atlanta. We have Tampa. We're adding so many more dates to everything. And this will probably be after Salt Lake City and Denver. But if not, go to those shows too. PaulVirzi.com for all dates. Get the Virzi Effect anywhere you get your podcasts. Also, the Anything Better podcast I do on all things comedy, co-host with Bill Burr, and obviously the Bone to Pick podcast with me and Bobby Kelly, Mike Albanese. It's all, you get it all, and please continue to check out my Netflix special, Nocturnal Admissions, streaming on Netflix right now. Thank you, Jeremiah Watkins. Thank you, Mike Albanese. Shout out to Andrew Themeles out there in Beverly Hills. All things comedy. I will see you guys next week. Thank you.